Rebel. Babe, can you see that? Snapchat, Instagram, Uchikila.
Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of I should actually be saying hi to our Rangers.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
that's the name of our viewers. So yeah, we're here with two special guests. As you can see, they're very special. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Look how good they look. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, today we're gonna be speaking on. Oh no, let me let them introduce themselves first.
Yes, maybe
right.
maybe let's start there.
My name's Kazz. I'm 29 and I live and work in Harare.
Right.
Is that cool?
Right.
For now, it'll do.
Yeah, it's cool.
We'll get more out of you.
I'm retarded Cupid. I am 22.
Okay.
For now, that'll do.
Right.
Oh, this is what we're doing now. I'm like, I'm Vera. I'm 28, and for now, that will do.
Right. Oh, guys, you see what I did there? I completely forgot that Vera was
It's
here.
fine. I see you.
I'm kidding.
This is her episode, so.
Today we are discussing a very important issue, especially when it comes to like the women's forum and like just femininity and being masculinity amongst women, and like basically the topic is passing and not passing and the effects of the male side of society on women and the expectations that come with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we're gonna just dive right into it. I think I would love to actually start by asking what you guys do, first of all, and yeah, just give us a like brief introduction of yourselves. Plug whatever you need to plug about yourself.
We allow plugs here,
Right.
yes.
Well, I'm Kazz. I'm an artist. I'm a music performer. I'm also a visual artist,
Right.
and I also am part of a collective of queer bodies called HQ, Harare Queers.
Right.
Which we've just started in the last year.
We actually work together on that.
Yeah,
Right.
we do.
Well.
HQ.
Yes.
I am retarded Cupid. That is my stage name. I'm also a performer and a university student and a media hoe.
So
Media
educated.
Oh, wow,
Media
right.
hoe. Anything media, I'm your person.
Right. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so I just want to ask an open-ended question to everyone right now. What is your understanding of passing and not passing, and how has... Let's just stop it.
Yeah.
What is your understanding of passing and not passing?
Do you want to go?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think for me, I look at it more from the side of like, there's this image of what a woman looks like, and it's the big boobs, the curvaceous body and stuff like that. And the minute you don't look like that, then you're like less of a woman. So for me, that's like just the automatic thing that comes to my mind. It's not necessarily about like how you dress. It's just about how your physical appearance and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
For me, it's the physical appearance,
Yeah.
but it's also the way you hold yourself and the way you sit. Like if I'm sitting with my legs wide open,
Yeah.
the way you talk.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
a lot of women get criticized for those things as well as the way that they look. I think passing. It is, like you say, like it's this unrealistic beauty standard that's perpetuated by the media, by men, and it's this expectation
Other
that
women.
Yeah, I was
other
gonna
women,
say other
as
women
well.
too.
It's true, can't leave out other women, and it's this idea that you have to like cross over this boundary to be really feminine and to pass as a woman, to be seen as a woman and be like treated with respect as a woman.
Right.
Basically.
I hear that.
Yeah. And I have to say, I agree with what all of you have said.
Yeah.
It's about the physical appearance as well as how you carry yourself and how you speak. You're supposed to use certain words that are polite for a lady.
Oh, yes.
And if you have a certain vocabulary, like some of us, then your
Some
lady,
of us. Okay.
You get looked at a certain way. Where it's like,
yeah.
That potty mouth.
And I think
can't
it
even help it.
it also transcends to like the job that you have and the people that you date and the people that you hang out with. Like it's not just about looks and the way you speak.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like your lifestyle.
yeah.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
Even
right,
like things that you consume, like we were talking earlier before you lit your cigarettes, and like how like it's a thing, like people be like, oh, women shouldn't smoke, or
Right.
women shouldn't
Like, oh,
drink
it's
beers,
gross.
and stuff like that. So it's just like there's so many, like I don't know who set these rules about like what it means to be a woman, like why there are rules and regulations for you to pass as a woman. And
Right.
most of these rules, like what we're saying, is that like it mostly
Right.
comes from men, and you're just like, well, technically, like you wouldn't
Right,
know.
right,
'cause
right.
You're not a woman, so you wouldn't get
Right.
it and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right, I think it goes back to something that we always speak about on this podcast, is the idea that women, for like historically, have been socialized for the consumption of men, or for like to be given to men or to be used by men. And so when women are not functioning in that way, I think that there's sort of a backlash that comes with it. People are like, you're not living up to your function. Like a woman who says, I don't want to have kids. That's in a sense not passing.
Yeah.
Because then they're like, what is your function then as a woman if it's not to be a child bearer or a mother or a carer? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that in a sense there's a lot of expectations on women that are brought on because of like our historical standpoint. Also like the fact that a lot of women are able to bear children, there's that expectation. Also, it's looked at as like a weakness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, my idea of passing is very complex
Yeah.
because it can be the tiniest of things.
Yeah.
Like not doing your hair. They're like, oh, you've let yourself go.
Yeah.
Are you even a woman? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, babes, but I'm not doing this for you.
Yeah.
You know what I
If
mean?
you don't look like a slay queen with like the weaves
Right.
and the nails done
Right.
and blah blah blah, like it's just like all of it's so unnecessary. It's kind of like when we had another episode where we were talking about femaling, and I'm just like, it's those things like that unnecessary pressure. When now
Right.
you feel like, oh, I need to get lip injections, I need to like get ass implants or whatever, like because there's just so many expectations. Like it's tiring. Femaling
Right.
is tiring sometimes.
Right. There was actually this thing, someone was like to me, I actually love women's feet. A man was like, I love women with nice feet. And I was like, but are your feet nice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of the time, guys have
That's the
terrible
thing, it's like
feet.
double standard
Right.
as well.
So it's really so. Do you guys have any personal experiences with like the whole passing and non-passing thing that have affected you or have made you look at life in a different way? Not even like life, but just socialization in general in a different way.
Yeah. Before we go to that, I just wanted to say as well that like women who choose to express themselves in a feminine way are not to be discredited either.
Yeah.
Right.
Like there's nothing wrong with wanting to be feminine and wanting to
Upkeep.
yeah, as long as you're like doing it for you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not like to please somebody else.
That
it's like
part.
I can like do my nails, do my makeup, do my
Yeah.
hair, and like feel
Right.
good about myself.
Right.
As long as like I'm not putting myself in danger,
Right.
like having risky surgeries or
Yeah.
you know
Right.
that could affect my health, and I'm not doing it to please other people. You know, because
Right.
at the end of the day, like pleasing other people is not going to make you happy in yourself.
Right.
So
Then you're
there's
gonna look
nothing
like-
wrong with women
Right.
who want to who do identify as really feminine.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to like put those people down.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
totally valid.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But like for me, that's not really been my experience.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like as you can see, like kind of, I don't really
What?
identify.
I can't see. What are you talking about?
It doesn't look like
What do
it.
you mean?
I mean, I don't know if you
talking
can
about?
tell from the way it's been filmed, but like, I don't even shave my legs.
Oh.
I don't wear makeup. I wear kind of androgynous clothing, and a lot of the times it's just like how I feel. It's not so much like this is my style and I'm stuck in it either. Like
Yeah.
I have had experiences where I've woken up and I thought like, I actually do want to get in touch with my femininity
Right,
today.
right.
And I want to wear a dress or I want to wear a
Right, we've had
skirt.
many conversations about
We
that.
have.
Right.
And it's been interesting, almost like a social experiment. Because
Yeah.
I feel I've been this way my whole life, and I'm only now in the last couple of years starting to get in touch with my feminine side. And the way people treat me when I'm like getting in touch with my feminine side, like I've done my nails, I've done my makeup, is so different.
Do you feel like there's
Yeah.
this thing of people feeling like you have to choose one or the other? You can't be
Yeah.
both. There's no in between. There's no gray area. Like you have to be one or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do feel like people don't like change, and
Right.
people like to, you know, people are used to me being like this,
Static.
and then as soon as I try to, if I want to express something else, it's like, why are you doing this? What's
Right,
made you
right,
do this?
right. I
Who's
think
made
that's a
you do
problem in
this?
society. I think people aren't very accepting of dynamic
Yeah.
personalities,
Yeah.
Yeah.
dynamic states of being. They want you to be like one way for the rest
Yeah.
of your life. Choose that and be that way so that we can.
Yeah.
We
It's
can
more
compute or
like
understand
it's
it.
It's very
almost.
weird. It's more like people want you to live so that you can accommodate them.
So they can be comfortable.
Right. It's like accommodate
like,
us.
I've
in
put
your
you in this box
decision-making.
in my head.
Right, and I need you to stay
For
there.
you to step out of that box, it's too confusing for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I had an experience in when I was living in London where like I went out and I had long hair and I did my hair up and I wore a bit of makeup and I was really feeling myself.
Right.
You know, like I was having a good time, and it was such a different experience to how I would be treated if I was going out like this.
Right.
And the biggest thing was actually the attention that I got from men.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I don't get a lot of attention from men as it is like this.
Okay, and why not men?
Just saying. I don't need it. But
Right.
like this night, like
that
I had
part.
so many men coming up to me and interacting with me, and I remember going home feeling like, oh, that was nice. Like
Right.
I must have been killing it tonight. And then the next day I woke up and I was like, that's not okay. Like actually I feel quite degraded that I was being judged on the way that I looked, and I was being elevated to a higher level.
Right.
Just because I was expressing my femininity.
Right,
I'm still
right.
the same person.
Yeah.
It's still me. You know, like if I'd gone out dressed like this, you know, the interactions would have been so different.
Right.
And they are.
Right.
I mean, this is how I dress most of the time, and the
Right.
interactions are really different.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Do you have any experiences that you'd like to share with us?
Well, I don't do much, but I would just like to add on to what Kazz was saying. It's really different.
Yeah.
You wake up one day, and for me, it's something as simple as tying my locks a
Yeah.
certain way.
Yeah.
Like, I never tie them. I usually have a cap on backwards, or it's just going everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I took a rubber band, tied my hair into a ponytail,
Yeah.
and I go to class, and everybody's just smiling. And I'm like, what is going on? They're like,
Yeah.
you look really pretty today.
Oh my
So I
God.
don't look pretty every other day.
Right. Right.
And I feel like that can be such a backhanded compliment.
Right.
It is, because I mean, I wake up awesome every day.
Exactly.
Right.
They're only saying it now. It goes back to what Jordan was saying. I feel
Oh,
like
you know my name. I'm joking. I'm playing.
it goes back to what Jordan was saying, you know? Even if you do look pretty, the way that you usually do, like the way I used to look with my hair undone,
Yeah.
people can't like, oh wow.
No.
Do you need a minute?
People can't.
I'm playing.
I feel like people, even the ones that do understand or like are okay with it, there's just this, it really bothers me. There's this unwritten Bible that's just there, and it's implied that, you know, you can't call them pretty when they're not looking like a girl.
Right. Right.
And yeah.
I think that also like crosses over. It talks about gender as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel like in terms of femininity, like it shouldn't just be something that is allowed to women either. You know,
Yeah.
like femininity should be something that men should be allowed to express. The same way
Right.
that like, yeah.
Right.
The same way, like I feel like women get away a lot more with being able to express their masculinity, but then
Yes.
men are not given the same.
Right.
Same thing.
There's no room. It goes back to male expectations that men put on each other,
Yeah.
and like, yeah, it's just, it's gross.
Well, where do you think
my
it
opinion.
comes from? Like, why do you think
It's
men?
history. It's power. It's positions of power. I think historically it was it's always been like this. Actually, I've always said that men used women as currency. And so if you look at music videos, for example, what is the main thing that they have? Women.
Yeah,
They always
women
have women
dancing.
cascading around them,
The more
whatever.
women, the more
and it's
successful
always,
you are.
or parties. When someone is like, I'm inviting you to this party, the question is always, how many girls are there?
Yeah.
It's like, it's currency. They're like, oh, we're gonna only come to your party if there's a certain amount of women.
Yeah.
And so,
And that definition of woman is very particular.
Yes.
right,
You know,
it needs to be like a
like-
curvy girl with like a slay queen.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Who's ready to put out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's sad. I think it's very sad. I think that unfortunately we live in a world where
Toxic
women
masculinity.
are, right. Women still come second. As much as we can try and say that we are getting closer to equality, we always say this. I feel like this is a resounding tone in all of our episodes that
Yeah.
women are second. We still are second. And even in that idea of women, there's still a fixed idea that only a certain kind of woman qualifies as a woman. Like Caster Semenya, for example. That's not regarded, she's not regarded as
A woman.
a woman. even though that's what she identifies as.
Makes me feel like what is so shameful about being a woman? It's almost like there are these expectations of women to be woman-like, and then as soon as a man starts to be a bit more feminine, it's shameful.
Yeah.
It's like these double standards again, and then you have someone who's androgynous, and it's still shameful.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like, it
it's
is
fragility.
difficult with caste dysmenia.
People are afraid of fragility and sensitivity, and the idea that women are able to encompass their emotions with
that
such
softer
such
side,
finesse,
such grace.
I think it's actually hating. You know how haters are always like, oh no, but they actually desire to have what you have.
Yeah.
And a lot of time when you speak to men, they're like, women are so good at communicating their emotions. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's something that we could work on.
I second that. When you say that people, it reminds me of a line that people attack in you what they see in themselves.
Right.
Yeah. So, as far as my experience has been is concerned, I identify more as androgynous. So I dress vaguely, purposefully. So.
And what does that mean for anyone who might not know what androgyny is?
Do you want to help me out?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of it's having both like masculine and feminine energy,
which I feel like makes sense because
everyone has masculine and feminine energy.
Exactly. It's like expressing that, like that's part of your identity, your expression.
Exactly. And so when people are walking past me down the street, I find them looking at me funny, because they see me dressing a certain way, but they see my boobs out because I don't know. It seems like they expect me to be
It's so confusing.
Putting your boobs on show for their consumption. That's what it is. Right.
But I think sometimes it's also just a thing where someone will like look at you and then they start looking for the boobs because like she's kind of just a bit masculine, but she's also kind of dressed feminine. So like, is she a girl? And it's just so weird because I'm like, do you have you could if you want to know, you can either ask me, have a conversation with me, and why should that matter? Like,
that's
the point.
That's the point. It's like, why should it matter
if I'm a man or if I'm a woman? Like, if you want to talk to me, if you think I'm an interesting person, come and talk to me, right? Like, but I've seen it so many times when you have someone like and you're just like, what are you looking for? Like, if I have boobs, does that change anything? Does that mean that like I'm more interesting? Am I less interesting now that I have like a vagina? Like, I don't understand this whole fascination about like people want to really know like what sex are they? Oh my gosh, because she dresses masculine, does that mean that she's a lesbian? And then that becomes a whole thing. And then like it's
and even like what is that saying about themselves that they have to define which one you are? Because does that mean that they have a different dialogue with different genders?
Right.
Like, okay, I've put you in the box of female, so I'm going to choose this dialogue to have with you. But I would never have this dialogue if I'd put you in the category of male. And it's like, why can't we just have open and honest conversations with everybody, regardless of your gender?
Oh, right. You're speaking so much truth. You know how people are like, men especially are like, let's have a conversation man to man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's always like, a woman could never have this conversation because they don't have the skill set that a man has. It's like, let's have this conversation man to man and level up.
Yeah.
So, I got that point.
That's an interesting tie, actually.
Right,
I like that.
Right. So I think that this is a conversation that has so many layers and levels.
Yeah.
I think that it's something that we could go on speaking about forever and ever and ever, because I think that it never ends.
Yeah.
It still exists now. It still affects all of us in our day to day. Like for me, let me just give a short example.
Yeah.
Like someone was saying the other day that I saw it on a podcast where they were sharing this idea that men look at women who are thin. Okay, if a woman is thin, a man would rather look at her for her brain as opposed to her body. Do you know what I'm saying? So a woman who is curvy will be looked at for her body and for what she can do with that body. Whereas if a woman is thin, they'll look at her for her brains. And because she doesn't have anything on her. You know, it's problematic. It's problematic in so many ways.
Expectations.
Right.
I also think just even looking at it as women, like, you know, just to, because I think we're so good at, you know, really pointing out that, yeah, men do this and blah, blah, blah. But, like, as women ourselves, like, we are our own worst enemies. I remember I had to get a dress tailor-made for me, right, for an event. And it was me and another musician. So she's curvier than I am. And we're in the tailor shop, and, you know, the lady's fitting me and everything. And then, so then they all, like, were like, oh my gosh, what size are you? You're like a size 12, or you wear, like, I mean, you're size 0. Then they're like, oh, you probably go to the kiddie section and buy clothes. So, like, they're all laughing about this. And, like, you know, story of my life, I've always been this size. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, okay, yeah, I have to laugh, but, like, I'm actually not comfortable at all about this. Because I was like, if I were to switch it around and have a different conversation, and you're the fattest person in the room, and I'm like, oh, wow, so where do you, like, shop on the, you know, double XL, like, you know, part of the store and stuff like that, like, they would find it very uncomfortable. Right. So I don't understand, like, why women do that. Like, if I'm not curvy, like, it's okay to make jokes about it. But if someone is curvy and then I, like, you know, I wouldn't do that to someone who's, like, overweight or fat or chubby. I wouldn't make certain comments because I don't know how you feel about your body. And as women, we know that. We know that you have certain insecurities.
Come in
like,
so many different sizes.
Right? And do you get it? But, like, as women, we're so sensitive about it. Like, I would know that, like, maybe you have, like, maybe, I don't know, you have, like, small ears. I'm not going to make a joke about it because I don't know how you feel about it. Do you get it? You might point it out and be like, oh my gosh, make jokes up for yourself. But, like, I wouldn't do that because I know that I have something that I hate about myself. And I wouldn't want someone to constantly, you know, point it out and remind me of it.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Right.
And women do that all the time. Women are also the first people to be like, when they see someone who dresses a bit masculine, to be like, is it a girl? Is it a boy? You know, and you'll even have women, like, I have a friend of mine.
But men also.
Yeah.
She dresses masculine, and you'll have a woman, like, girls coming up and saying that, oh, I just wanted to check if you're a girl or not. I'm like,
that's none of your business.
Wow, like, you actually felt that was okay for you to step up to someone and ask that, you know?
How dare you? That's so amazing.
Right?
It is.
I mean, I can also speak, like, I went to an all-girls school my whole life, basically. Maybe you can relate.
Yes.
I don't know. And, like, girls are the worst, you know? It's not just men. And I don't know if it's because men instill the idea in women, and then women just project that out to other women.
Yes.
But women are also perpetrators of this, like upholding these unrealistic beauty standards and buying into the media and buying into, like, how women should look. I mean, like, in high school, it's a popularity contest. Yes. And the most popular girls
and the
are the
beauty
prettiest.
contest.
Yeah.
And
And
who can snag the best boyfriend
and
contest.
the most feminine, exactly.
Right.
Like, it's almost like you're ranked by popularity. It's like proportional to your femininity.
Yes,
you know,
that's
like
so
the more
true.
like
and your
feminine
abilities
and glamorous you
to
are,
socialize
exactly.
as a woman.
And your ability with men as well. Again, it kind of comes back.
What if we
to,
don't
like,
even like men?
Exactly.
Well, thank you.
What if I just don't?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, it's crazy that like, we do that to ourselves as women. And, like, what you're saying about buying into the whole thing. Like, as women, we buy into it. Like, oh my gosh, you should, like, you can go out as girls and say that we're going to have a girls' night out. And I'll be like, oh, you can all come to my house and we'll get dressed. And then, like, we all get dressed. I'll be like, oh, you're going out like that. You know, like, we do that. And it's just like, you know, your friend. Like, I feel like sometimes, like, women go out of their way to be like, oh, like, did you know that you were going out? Or, like, is that what you want to wear? You don't want to wear a dress? Can I give you a dress? Like, no, sweetie, I don't want to.
Do you know how many times I've had people, like, in my close circle of friends say, like, can I give you a makeover? Like, let me
story
just,
of my life.
Right?
Story
right?
of my life.
Thank you.
Just last
like,
week, somebody tried to trim
can
my
I give
eyebrows.
you a makeover? Can I, like, beautify you? And it's like, it makes me feel so uncomfortable.
It does.
It's like,
It does.
I have so much faith in myself. You know, like, I don't need anybody else's approval to feel good about myself. I do feel like partly that comes from the fact that I did identify as a lesbian for, like, in my formative years. You know, like, I came out as a lesbian when I was 14. So, like, my whole high school career, I now identify as pansexual. So, like, I'm more interested in, like, people for their personalities. But I feel like in those formative years, it was really valuable for me to not be pandering to the expectations of men. I feel like that really helped to
because not
instill
everyone
this, like,
likes men, guys.
I feel like it really helped to instill this, like, sense of self-worth and value, because I'm not trying to look pretty for the guys, you know.
Do you sometimes feel like the way that people judge you according to the way you present yourself? Like what I said earlier, when I was like, if you dress more, like, in a more masculine way, or, like, people just automatically assume that, like, you're a lesbian. If you dress very feminine and like in a certain kind of feminine way, you're a slut, or you're, you know, like it's our femininity is categorized by how we dress, and then like our, you know, our sexuality is, I mean, our, you know, our sex life is then like connected to how we look. Where like I could be dressed like a gangster but like be the biggest slut on earth. But like, you know, but do you get it? Like, or I could, you know, like people just make assumptions according to how we present ourselves before just actually having a conversation with someone. Like those off the bat assumptions sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like what Kazz was saying, I resonate with it a lot, because there's a problem with how this whole thing, even if it's the women, right, attacking other women or setting these unrealistic standards. The problem is when they're looking at a woman, they're looking at her as somewhat of a threat. It's always in connection with the men.
Even if it's subconscious.
Exactly. They can't think of women independently without putting the man first. So as Kazz was saying, like, I took a similar journey myself, where I was just constantly in my head, and it gave me a lot of... So when I'd come out of wherever I was, and then I'd see people worrying about... I can't go out looking like this. I'm like, what were you thinking when you left? I thought it was okay. So why don't you think it's okay now? Because that guy looked at me funny. And you
people
know,
pleasing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It like just becomes a whole thing.
Right.
The problem, I feel like what would help more to sort of address the problem is to raise little girls that are capable of thinking about themselves as little girls, independent from men, before they can think about how they can relate to a man. You know, because when you find a woman that's looking at you and not trying to find the good things about you, or like your fashion sense, or like your brains, for example. You find that they're just picking these qualities that you know they can put down, so they can feel like they're higher up the ladder and closer to the man than you are.
Right, that's so true.
But I think we also need to stop putting it on women. I think we also need to raise better men, better boys, better whatever that male sex, whatever. Raise better people that are not women. Okay.
Let's just raise better people.
I was gonna say that actually.
Let's just raise better people.
Women,
That's actually a great solution.
Yeah.
Let's now actually discuss what are some solutions that we can put towards this. What do you think are things that can be done to alleviate this idea of passing and not passing, or this expectation for women to be a certain way, or even men to be a certain way?
Give your girls confidence. I think as girls, like going to all female school, guys, is the worst thing. I would never do that to my child. I even told my mom the other day, I was like, I would never send my daughter to an all
even as a
school.
lesbian,
like right, like I do not believe in it, because like it destroys
it's
you.
Not
like,
a kid in a candy
even if
store.
right, even
it
if you're
wasn't the dream I had.
right, it's not as perfect. Like even if you're popular, there are all of these crazy expectations. Now you have to always look good. You always have to have the makeup on. You always have to dress a certain way. Now you have to live up to this crazy standard. If you're not that person, then like you're the loser or the weirdo that like everyone. And girls are brutal, guys.
Right.
But also, you don't get to interact with boys enough to like not put them on a pedestal.
Yes,
But let's
and to
also
just be
normalize
used to
being a
them.
weirdo.
Can you remember going to like into schools,
Yeah, and like kind of freaking
and all
out.
the guys are like,
Exactly.
boys. And it's like,
so true though.
it's like
It is
they've
true.
never seen a boy
Yeah,
in their life.
Yeah,
It's
guys,
we
let
actually
us.
just-
One sex, one gender schools must
Don't make
fall.
sense. Yeah,
Let's
at
do
all. It's
co-ed.
not just
such a-
Society is not
toys
single.
and
Right.
activities and
Co-ed should be
like,
Yeah.
we need to
related
like
to everything.
ungender our clothing,
Right.
our toys, like
Right.
our play, our work, our
Right.
conversations,
Right.
our education. It all needs to just fall under one bracket where everybody
Right.
gets taught the same.
right.
It's like as soon as you separate the two, there's always this idea that like one is better than the other.
Yeah, exactly.
And the
Competing.
way-
That's
yeah.
just human nature. Like we see two things and we're like, one has to be better than the
Yeah,
other.
you have to compare
Right.
all the time.
Right.
Unfortunately.
That's why people are like, oh, Manchester United is better than Liverpool. Or they'll be like,
People are
oh,
gonna come for
Castle
you.
Yeah.
is better than
gonna come
Black
for you.
Label.
Black Label, yeah.
I was actually coming for all of y'all that are watching soccer. I don't even know what soccer is. I'm like, is that the one where they shoot hoop? No, I'm playing. No, I'm playing.
Wearing
That
the
was
cute
to
dresses.
aggravate y'all. That was to aggravate. But yeah, I think in conclusion we can all go away from this. Not that we're going away, we're gonna come back. I feel like the conversation.
Yeah, we have to have
can't
another
end
conversation.
here.
Yes, part 2 has
This
to
is
happen.
definitely something that needs to be spoken about at length. I think in conclusion we can definitely say that there is a lot of work to be done on the ground.
Yeah.
As much as in like a not even, I think maybe even at a governmental level.
Yes.
Where we look at women and men on an equal scale. As much as we can try to say that we want things to be equal, we need to first of all break down what this idea of gender is. It's something that needs to be tackled at so many different levels.
I feel like this conversation started as a conversation on passing, and now it's about gender equality.
Right.
Like, we blew it up.
Right.
I think you have to,
Right.
you know,
Right.
because that's, you know, passing, that's where it comes from. It comes from
Right.
gender inequality.
Right. Right. But I definitely think this is a conversation that we will definitely carry on another day.
Definitely.
And I am sorry if we're leaving you hanging, but you're going to have to come back for more.
And we won't tell you when
Right.
the next episode
Come back
is. You
for
just have to
seconds.
keep subscribing to the channel and
Right.
just following,
Right.
and then maybe perhaps we'll
Right.
let you know when the
Right.
next episode will be, like the follow up on this conversation.
She doesn't know.
And on that note, that's actually a perfect thank you for that segue. On that note, guys, please like, subscribe to this channel, follow our socials.
Yes.
Their socials are gonna be
They're
on the
somewhere
screen if
here.
you'd like your socials to be on the screen. If not, their socials are somewhere. But yeah, also follow our socials,
Yeah.
follow the Incubator Hub
Yes.
page.
HQ.
Yes, and HQ as well. Please
Yes,
do.
HQ. It's also gonna be
That is
gonna be
super
here.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
They
the
did had a
socials
super
are
fun
here.
event just now as well. So,
Creative,
yeah.
queer spaces, people.
So yeah, thank you so much for watching today, guys. We really appreciate the love and the support.
Yes.
And thank you so much for coming on,
Yes,
guys.
we
We
really appreciate it and being like open and
Right.
stuff.
Please,
Yes.
our Rangers, give these people some love because we love them. So
Yes.
yeah, thank you so much for watching.
Yeah. We're gonna go get more beers now.
Bye.
Sunday drinking. Bye.
Let me take you down the brew. Let me show you what we do. Little mommy, we're a perfect fit. My one ain't at hand of fit. Tonight I might fall in love.